Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshua Castillo, and if you're new to the channel, welcome, hello, welcome, just all the warm welcomes to you. And no, I'm not doing bro finance here. This is totally just normal personal finance where you're gonna find some of the best investment tips, some of the best personal finance tips, and then just ways to set yourself up for financial independence later on in your life. But with that all being said, make sure to subscribe down below if that's something you're into, and let's hop right into today's video. So one key thing I want to talk to you guys about is compound interest. Now, what is compound interest? Or you've probably heard of it before, maybe your friends have dropped it, or you heard it somewhere in class, or you heard one of your coworkers say it. What is compound interest though, and what does it do? Well, compound interest is basically, think about it like this. You have your investment account, you take $100, put it in that investment account, you're not adding anything else to it for this example, and let's say you put it into an S&P 500 index fund that normally will get around 7 to 8%. For right now, we're going to be doing 7%, but it'll grow in 1 year. It'll grow 7%. So you threw that $100 in there, and then now at the end of the year, it'll be $107. The beautiful thing about compound interest is instead of, just adding another $7 the next year, it'll actually be 7% above the $107. So you can see right here, this graph, this will be able to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, how exponentially this just keeps going and going and going. And one of the best parts of actually using compound interest is the ability that it works the best the younger you are. So if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, and you don't plan to retire until you're 65, 70, 75, you got a long time to grow. Versus if you're a little bit older, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you're gonna have to shovel in a lot more cash to really catch up to where the financial analysts or financial gurus really think you should be. So one of the key parts of investing, especially for your retirement, is investing early. The two first accounts that I want to go over is going to be the traditional IRA and the Roth IRA. Now, anytime you see Roth, especially in this video, just think post-tax dollars. So that means your paycheck, that's what it's talking about when it's talking about a Roth IRA. So let's take a look at the traditional IRA first, because it'll all make more sense as we explain this further. Now, the first key thing that makes it different from a Roth IRA is the traditional IRA is money that you put in from your paycheck, and then you take a tax deduction when you file taxes at the end of the year. Now, this helps out a lot if you really think that your tax burden is higher right now versus later on in life, because when you take a disbursement or you get that money out of the account, once you retire later on in life, you're going to be taxed at whatever rate they have at the time. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like taxes are going to go up in our lifetime. There's no way that they're not going to. So the key option that I really like and I really recommend to people is to use a Roth IRA. Now, when you use a Roth IRA, you're taking your paycheck that you get from your job and you are just funneling that money in there. Now, what makes it so special? Well, since you asked, I mean, I guess I could answer. But since you want to take a look at the Roth IRA, one of the key things is that it is tax-free growth. So let's say you somehow are able to get from $500,000 of your own money put into that account and it grows to $1 million. Well, under a traditional IRA, that $500,000 growth, that's going to be taxed. But under a Roth IRA, that full $1 million is going to be tax-free, your money. You can take it out. There's going to be no tax burden at all. It's just your money to spend on whatever you want at the time. Maybe you're going to go on a nice beach trip to the Bahamas. You can send me a ticket as well if that's what you're planning on doing. But to get back into it though, one of the key pieces of what makes this such a special account, or both of these really a special account, is that you can only contribute up to $6,000 as of 2020. Now, it seems like they're raising this every so often with yearly amounts going up with inflation or however they calculate it out, but there is some income limits with the Roth IRA. Now, you can do a full contribution up to $124,000. And then once you get from 124 to about 140, you're actually only going to be able to do a partial contribution. And then if you make anything beyond that with your yearly income, you're not going to be able to invest into this Roth IRA. Now, you can still invest into the normal IRA, the traditional one, but you might not be able to get that tax deduction at about those same income levels. So you still will have an option, to invest into, but you won't necessarily get the benefits of having that tax-free growth. But I guess if you're making about $150,000 and above, I mean, you're doing pretty well for yourself as far as everything goes. So the goal is for you to eventually hit that upper echelon and just get out of the contribution limit entirely. But for right now, if you just graduated, if you're just getting a job, you just got your first job, or you're still in college, you're doing some work part-time, you have some money left over that you want to invest, do it in a Roth IRA account. Now, you can't withdraw it. If you do, you take a 10% penalty, but you really don't want to withdraw invested funds, so make sure this is money that you are okay with not having direct access to. The next accounts that I really want to talk about is going to be 401k and Roth 401k. Now remember, Roth means post-tax dollars, so let's dive in to see what the accounts look like and what the benefits are of both of these accounts. Now, a 401k is something that is a company-sponsored plan. I believe you can get your own one as well, but normally for you and I, you're going to be seeing it through a company-sponsored plan. It'll be something where your health insurance, you have your dental insurance, you'll probably have some sort of form of 401k or 403b. There's different forms of it, but it's generally speaking under the same sort of umbrella of investment accounts. Now, the key piece of this is that a lot of employers offer some sort of a match. Now, maybe not during COVID times, they're not going to offer a match because they're strapped for cash, but a lot of employers use the match as a way of getting talent in. So if you work in one of those industries, you work at like a Fortune 500 company, there's a good chance that you have some sort of a match. Now, I'm just going to use my example to explain how that match really works and what makes the 401k account a must-have if you have the option to, especially if you have the match. Now, the first key thing I want to talk about is if you don't have a match, I would probably put my money into a Roth IRA, because in my thinking is that you can contribute to a Roth IRA at any time during the year, and if you have no match in the 401k, you never know when you might need that money, so you save it up, dump it in your Roth IRA at the end of the year, and then just pretty much keep doing that. But in this example, we're going to be taking a look at what a match really does for you. Now, let's say you make $100 on your paycheck, and let's say that your company matches the first 4% of that $100 dollar for dollar, or they match it 100%. So think if you put $4 in, they're also going to put $4 into this 401k account, and that's instantly doubling your money. Now, some people even offer stuff beyond that, like at some of the companies that work in Fortune 500, they offer beyond that matching dollar for dollar up to the first 4%, they also match 50% or to another 100% or somewhere in between there of the next 4% or whatever it is. So let's say that for this example, you get the first $4 matched dollar for dollar. So you get $4, they give you $4, so now you have $8. Now let's say you contribute another $4 or 4%, however you want to see this. This is a $100 paycheck. You contribute $4 and they send you $2. Now all of a sudden you contributed $8 in and they contributed $6. So just on your money that you put in, you made a 150% return on your money. That is absolutely insane, because you got matched dollar for dollar on the first $4, and then you got matched half of that on the next $4. Now think of that in a circumstance of $100,000. So you're making $100,000. Those numbers just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're literally doubling your money just from the employer match. Now, one caveat to this is that there is actually a vesting schedule, or what they call a vesting schedule. Normally, the way this works is that the employer will keep that as a vested schedule, and you don't get it until it is up. Now, I've seen anywhere from 1 to 3 years to 5 years even. And basically the way this works is it keeps you into the company, and their hope is that you don't leave, and so that way you get the match after 3 years. It'll show up in your account, but let's say if you left or got fired within 2 years, then you lose that employer match out of your account, but you still keep all of the money that you've invested into your 401k. So I just want to show you guys what that looks like though, with and without the employer match on your account. So I'm just gonna pop up two graphs here real quick. And the first one is going to be what it looks like if it was, say, 14% of your income. At about a $50,000 salary, what does 14% look like? Now 14% being that 8% that you put in, and then the 4% at a dollar for dollar, and then the other 2%, that was the 50% of your second amount that you put in. So 14% at a 40-year rate at 7%, that's a lot of money versus just seeing your money that you put in. Sure, that's a lot of money as well, but it's not nearly as much as getting free money. So if you have the option of a 401k match, whether it's Roth or 401k, take the match always, 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 always. It is free money. It doesn't matter how long you've been working there. Take the match if you can. Make sure you look into the different HR documents that get sent your way just to see if there's anything weird about it, but definitely take the match every single time. Now, the difference between a 401k and a Roth 401k is basically just when you take the taxes. So similar to a traditional IRA, the 401k is pre-tax dollars. Typically, this is taken out of your payroll as a deduction, but you can also contribute to it and have it taken out of your taxes at the end of the year. Now, a Roth 401k is post-tax dollars that will be shoved into your account. And then if you get an employer match and you want to use a Roth 401k account, the employer match will be a traditional 401k. So all of that money will be pre-tax money, and you'll pay taxes on just the employer match when you retire and take out disbursements. Now, one more thing I really wanted to add to you guys is that the limit for a 401k is $19,500. Now, if you are above the age of 50 or 55, I believe, you get a $6,000 bonus to that. So it's a lot of room to catch up if you're just starting. And a lot of times what you want to do in a simple order is you want to take the 401k match first. Whatever is left over in terms of your saving that you're planning on investing, you want to actually put that money into a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, however you think about it. In my head, I think I'll get the match first on my 401k. The rest of my money will get shoved into a Roth IRA until I hit that $6,000 contribution limit, and then I'm gonna dump the rest of it into my 401k. Because my thinking is, if I get it off of my paycheck, where a Roth IRA, I can contribute any part of the year, at least I have that money set aside and I can keep it in a savings account in case something happened. Or if nothing happens and I feel comfortable, just dump all that into my investment account and then never look at it again. Now, the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is an HSA. Now, there is an FSA, and I don't really want to talk about it that much because it's not as important for your retirement as much as it is just having a flexible spending account for health problems. But one of the key things about having an HSA is this is offered typically through your employer as well, and it is a triple tax advantage account. So what that means is that all of the money you put into that account, which you can invest into any fund you want, when you put this money into that account, it is pre-tax dollars. On top of that, you can do any medical expense. Now, there are some limits to what counts as a medical expense or what's reimbursable, but basically you have a debit card or you'll have some sort of number where you just charge it to that and it'll pull money out of your HSA. So let's say you have an upcoming, medical expense, you're going to get dental surgery or something along the lines of that where you know it's going to happen. Why take the taxes? Why pay taxes on it when you don't need to? The best part about this too is you can actually reimburse yourself at any time. So you make sure that you keep those receipts. It just has to be receipts after the date of inception for the HSA. But you can take the reimbursements at any time. So let's say you're strapped for cash, you paid out of pocket instead of using your HSA, which normally you should do because you'll see why here in a second, but you pay out of pocket for, say, dental surgery or dental fillings or just a checkup or something like that. Suddenly something happens, you need to take that money back, just reimburse yourself. It's super, super easy. Now, what makes an HSA so great? There's a $3,000 limit for you and I to contribute every single year, but it acts as another investment account where you can just invest into your future. Now, I think an HSA is a great option if it's given to you through your employer. Make sure to double check your HR, because I don't think this is a very highly offered thing that happens, but there are a lot of companies that do offer HSAs. But if you have the chance, make sure to take advantage of it. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was really informative, and I hope you guys learned a ton of different things. Let me know if you have any questions about retirement accounts down below, and I will see you guys on the next one. If you guys like this video though, really quick, just go like it. I won't be mad if you don't, but it really helps out the channel a lot because we're still growing here on the channel. With that being said, this is gonna be Josh Castillo signing off.